Although progress is slow, it's seen positively. President Erdogan has shown strong concern for humanitarian aid, noting that the lack of shelter, food, and medicine for Palestinians is deeply troubling. Israel is known to be pursuing a deliberate policy with the ultimate aim of forcing Palestinians out of Gaza. However, with the support of regional countries and the US, the process has advanced. In the second phase, a Palestinian technical committee is expected to take over Gaza's administration, followed by the establishment of a peace council and an executive board. These structures should become operational in the coming weeks. While progress continues, risks remain.
In Washington is Omar Rahman, a fellow at the Middle East Council on Global Affairs. Welcome to the program, Omar. Just wondering if you agree with the Turkish foreign minister that Israel's ultimate aim is to drive all Palestinians out of Gaza.
Yes, I think that's been evident over 2+ years. I mean, that was the kind of driving impulse of the Israelis. They destroyed Gaza. They've kept it basically unlivable. And then since the ceasefire, I mean, for 3 months, they haven't allowed the real entry of aid. They've continued to press the population through force, through killing, through deprivation, and all these types of things. And they've, through their diplomatic endeavors, sought to, find locations for Palestinians to be displaced to. So yes, I think that is their ultimate aim, as evidenced by everything that's transpired on the ground over the past 2+ years.
What do you think will happen if the International Board of Peace and the Technocratic Committee don't agree?
It's a very good question. Within this governance structure that's been established by Trump's plan, it is the Board of Peace that is the ultimate decider, the decision maker, and the Technocratic Committee is really basically an implementer of those decisions on the ground, and an administrator and governor. And so there could definitely be tensions there between this foreign-run Board of Peace and the Palestinians on the ground that are trying to chart their own destiny and recovery out of this absolute catastrophe and disaster. And Palestinians writ large, don't want this kind of foreign body governing them, this type of neo-colonial body, but they have been pressured and coerced throughout this process to kind of accept these dictates and impositions of especially the United States and Israel. And so this is the kind of place we're in, and this is not the only tension. I mean, there's a tension between other countries and the U.S. and the Israelis over the International Stabilization Force. I mean, there are countries that were willing to become a part of it and to send troops for that, but the Israelis and the Americans are making demands on what that mandate should be, and there's a huge gap between those type of demands and what the reality of countries are willing to do on the ground. Most specifically, the disarmament of Hamas. Nobody wants to send their citizens and their troops in there to forcibly disarm Hamas. So these are the kind of tensions that exist between the various parties, and not much is clear because the Trump plan itself is unclear, and the Israelis really are not invested in the success of this plan.
The Hamas that governs Gaza has agreed to the Palestinian Technocratic Committee, but it hasn't said much, has it, Omar, about the International Board of Peace? How important is the composition? How important will each individual be on that board? Because a Palestinian Technocratic Committee taking care of Palestinian issues, if we have too many Western leaders on that international board, surely the Palestinians will just look at that and think, hold on, this is just colonization.
Yeah, again, it's a good question, and again, I think Palestinians generally object to this entire governance structure, but are going along because it's been imposed on them, and they don't have much of an alternative, and that includes Hamas. Hamas has come along with this process despite severe objections and reservations at every step along the way. But at the end of the day, it doesn't want to give Israel the pretext to carry on its genocide in the Gaza Strip, and so it's kind of moved along with this process begrudgingly. But certainly, if that Board of Peace is outfitted with people that are very close to the Israelis and a bunch of Westerners that don't have Palestinian interests at heart. And it looks like that will be the case to some respect. I mean, there will be objections, but ultimately, what are you going to do? So, these are the tensions that are going to be a part of this process, and we'll see. I mean, that Board of Peace has not been announced yet. I think Trump's reserving that for some type of spectacle at the Davos World Economic Forum. But we'll ultimately see. I mean, this is going to be a process, I think, that's going to be kind of hammered out and pushed and pulled between the various parties and actors that are trying to shape it over time and through its implementation process. So it's something that's going to evolve, and there are a number of forces between Palestinian forces, between the U.S. and Israel, and Qatar and Egypt and Turkey that are going to try to shape how this is implemented over time on the ground.
Omar Rahman, thank you for the analysis.